I'm just amazed at everything that it allows educators to do. One quick housekeeping thing is we do have a Canvas course for this training. In that Canvas course, you will see the slides for today, the resources. We're recording this and we're going to pop the recording in there. Also, our final eval and our attendance check. So we're going to do an attendance check towards the end of the training. So Jennifer, if I could have everybody do that around 12:25, should give me enough time. So if you're looking for a sign-in, there isn't one yet, but towards the end of the training, we'll get you acclimated with that Canvas course. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. I kind of a little excited today, so I'm doing things a little out of order. Usually I'll start with my PowerPoint slide, but I just so excited about these new features that rolled out, and since we're starting in the meeting, I thought we'll go there and then we'll go into the boring PowerPoint presentation part of it. But before we leave this meeting and get started with the PowerPoint, I wanted to show you the new features that literally just came out this week. They may not even be rolled out to you yet. So how Microsoft does things is they roll things out in waves. And so it depends where your district is in that rollout. I'm in a test for Microsoft, so I get things first. So some of these things just got announced this past week, so I actually get access to them first. So the changes that you're going to see coming is normally this bar that's at the top is here in the middle. So let me just introduce to you so that you have access to all of this during our meeting, and you can put things in chat and you'll know how to operate throughout our presentation today. So over here, you'll see that we have the red record is on. You'll see the time the meeting started. Now, this doesn't mean when the meeting started being recorded. It's just the first person to enter that meeting. That time starts rolling. Here, you'll see I've clicked this participants, and you get this along the side. Now there's some great features in here that I think teachers are going to really like. Here's where you have permissions. And I know that's been an issue for teachers. So I'm going to click that and I want to show you what you can set, the parameters you can set for your students. So it's going to pop up in this new browser. Now the beautiful part about a Teams meeting is because I have this set to show you my desktop, I didn't have to stop sharing my screen and share a new screen. It does a seamless transition through those two things. So here's your permissions. So you can have a lobby where you can have people have to wait and you allow them to come in. So someone can't enter the meeting without your permission. Today, I have it set to everyone, so you didn't have to wait in a lobby. You just joined and automatically went into the meeting. So I just want to show you the controls. You can, so if someone calls into the meeting, that's another way that they can bypass the lobby if given that permission. You can announce when someone leaves or joins. We have that set to no today to respect people's privacy, but in your class meeting, you may want to do that. And then who can present? You have some options. So your students can't just present unless you give them permission. So that is some of our options that we have in our Teams meeting. So I want to go back to our screen here. Then the other thing is attendance. So I can click this, download an attendance report, and it will create an Excel file for me. It'll show me a couple things. It's going to show me the names of the attendees, what time they joined the meeting, and when they left the meeting. So if you have families calling and saying, Betty Lou is telling me that she's been coming to the meetings, but I'm not sure, can you let me know? Well, you can have that with Excel. I'm going to mute everybody just to make sure. You could also have that option. And then you can close the window. So I know myself, when I was doing online learning, teaching classes this spring, every Friday I had to put out a report of the attendance and who was participating. So this is a great way that Microsoft can collect all of that data for you and keep track of that for you. The only caveat I want you to be aware of is you need to do this during the meeting. You can't go back in afterwards and run that report. It has to be done during the meeting. So I just want to make you aware of that. So let me close that. That's our people option. Then here is the chat. So this is what I want to show you is we have the option to chat over here. And in our chat, we have some options. Now, different districts give different permissions for what they allow to be in these boxes. I like to click the format button. It gives me a much bigger window, and I have a lot of those classic Word features that you will see. I can attach files. I can upload websites. I have emojis. You have GIFs. You have stickers. These are really fun ways to keep everybody engaged and keep it interesting. So you have those. If your district allows you to use those, they're available to you. And then you just click the send. So what I would ask today is, if, as we're going through the presentation, if the sound is really low, I just saw that pop up, I will try and make it louder on my end, but you may need to adjust that at your end. I will do the best I can. I'll try and move this a little bit closer. I'm using the camera in my laptop, my Surface, and the microphone. I'm not using anything special. So I wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like with just regular features. You do have the raise hand feature as well. And here you have, this is where you get a lot more options. So your device settings is, you know, what your microphone is, and how your, all your settings for your computer. You have your meeting details, that's our date, time, and that link that we sent out to everybody. And these are some of the new. Right now we're in gallery, so I can see different people projected. The large gallery is a little grayed out right now, so I don't have access to it. What it's going to be is a 7x7. You'll be able to see 49 students at any given time. Now, give me just a little wave if it's okay to do this. This is the brand new feature that's out this week, and I would be so excited if you let me do this. It's called Together Mode. And we can put it an image, so all the people that are on video right now get presented in a different format. So it took everybody from our video and put us all together. And there'll be different options, and it's just adds some fun. There's other ones. You're welcome to pop in, anybody. And you can, I am so excited about this. This is my first one where this has worked. So I am over the moon. I was actually going to try and take a little screenshot of that. So thank you so much for indulging me and doing this. It's fun for me to have an audience to be able to do that with. We can all see each other, wave, all in real time. So I hope, you know, this will be a fun thing for your students. Yeah, check it out. It's awesome. So we've been having fun with this week. And so I'm so excited that I'm actually going to do a print screen, if you don't mind. It's my first. Thank you for letting me have that little geek moment. I appreciate it. So we'll go back to gallery mode. But those are some of the new features that you have available to you that will be coming out soon. And I'm going to actually show you a video with the Together. It's called Together Mode, and there's more screens, more options. So you have background effects. I'm sure some of you have seen those in meetings where people blur the screen. They've added a lot of those for you to choose from, and you can preview them, and they've added some fun ones for the kids. There's some sci-fi looking ones. So you're going to find all those things here. You also can, here's your I'm going to close this out so we don't have too many things open. You have your camera, your microphone. This is where you're going to share. You're going to present your whiteboard. You're going to present any of your screens. Now here you have two options, and I'm going to be very careful so I don't press any of these. But this is where you can personally leave the meeting, and this is where I can end the meeting for everyone. Now those buttons are for me because I'm the one that organized this meeting. So I will do my best to pause once in a while and check the chat. If there's something pressing that you really need addressed immediately, you can come off mic and jump in. But I'll try and stop periodically to check. And oops, sorry, that was my chair. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to switch to our PowerPoint now. And we'll kind of get going through all the business end of things. So I told you a little bit about myself. Here is my email address. If you have any questions after today's presentation, please feel free to follow me and to contact me. Here's my Twitter handle. I really like to try and keep up to date with the newest things coming out on Microsoft. So if you like to see all the new gadgets, check me out. And if I see things that I think will be really great for educators, I try and post those too. Here's my LinkedIn. And this is what we're going to go over a little bit today. We kind of already jumped ahead and we looked at the meetings and the recordings. I'm going to show you, we looked at some of the meeting analytics already and managing a meeting. So we've already covered this section for the most part. I'm going to, when we go into our team, I'm going to show you about the scheduling portion of the meetings. So then we're going to go through and navigate. I'll show you how to create a team. And I have 3 teams that I've already pre-built to show you as examples. And then I want to give you time today to create a team. Now, the beautiful part about Microsoft and its products is you're not going to break anything. So you don't have to feel pressure to create a team today that you're going to use. Just go in, create, play around, and then I want to be able to be available to you to answer questions. I know myself, I sometimes learn best when I get to actually try things out, and that's when I end up with the most amount of questions. So that's how I'd like to set up today's meeting. We're going to be looking at teams, and we're going to specifically talk about building a class team today, but I will show you a demo for professional learning community, staff, I will not, and then you also have staff and other. Let me explain a little bit of the differences of these for you. So in a class, you have a class notebook. You can do assignments and turning in work. So the teacher is the main owner of that team, and then the students are the members. So they have less permissions than the owners. In a PLC, you can collaborate with educators. Everyone in that team is an owner and has equal rights. It's really good for a cohort, professional development, and it has a specialized notebook for sharing and gathering information. For staff, this is great for administration that oversees teachers or other groups. It's great for documenting walkthroughs and sharing those documents and collaborating. There's a semi-private space for each professional and for the admin, so that you could work on maybe your goals for the year and only your admin will see it. But then you also have collaboration spaces. And then the staff, that was the staff. And then other is really wonderful for PTA or after school clubs, things like that. So I want to show you here how Omaha schools have been using Teams and what they've been doing with it. Well, gotta love technology. It'll get there. Thank you for your patience. Because we do have such a nice block together, I will definitely make sure that we incorporate breaks, and we'll try and answer questions during those breaks too, if that helps. So I apologize for this wait time. Let me see if I can redo this. We'll try that again. There we go.
Over the course of the last 4 years, Omaha Public Schools has been in a transformation mode. We really tried to look at what should happen in the classroom today. Many times what you saw was a lack of use of technology within the classroom, and what we're doing right now is really purposeful.
Children that are in school now have never lived in an era where there's not been technology right at their fingertips. So it just makes sense to reach them at that level.
I love walking into those classrooms to see how kids engage with technology. We talk about the 4 C's a lot, so it's communication, collaboration, critical thinking skills, and creativity. Teams really does all of them. It's highly collaborative because I have conversations more in real time, more informal, and more consistent. I have the ability to bring in apps that I would use, like OneNote. Then whenever you add video into the mix, I have real-time face-to-face happening. All those pieces together create an environment that you just don't see in anything today. Well, within teams, there's instant feedback back to that student and collaboration between students within an environment that's safe and effective for classroom learning. That learning process extends well beyond the confines of a school. Learning can happen just about anywhere.
It's just a better way of communicating, because if you're not going to see somebody, you can still communicate with them even though they're not there.
Being a teacher, you never have all the answers, so it is nice to be able to collaborate with other team members, whether it be down the hallway, in another part of the building, or in another state. Using Teams is just an easy way to get more ideas on how to reach the kids in the classroom.
Teachers get a digital hub for classrooms and professional learning all in one area. There's a lot of power that can come out of that. First and foremost, you have to have amazing teachers. Secondly, I think you have to have great leadership. And then thirdly, I think you need opportunities. Whenever students have the opportunity to connect the dots, that's when learning is purposeful, because that's going to drive them to be who they can be.
So I like seeing what other districts are doing and seeing their excitement and bringing that energy back. So we're going to look at the different ways to sign into Teams. I know this can be an issue because we're all working on different devices. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways, and then we'll actually log in. So you can start Teams through your Windows if you have it downloaded to your desktop. Or if you have it on your Mac, you can go through applications. I like also having it downloaded onto my phone. And the reason is, if I step away from my computer or desktop for a moment and I get a phone call, or one of my coworkers wants to chat, it will also ring my phone. And then I can choose to answer it or not, but I feel like I can stay connected while also maybe, going and get a cup of coffee. So the other option you have, if you don't have it downloaded on your desktop, is to sign in with your Microsoft 365 username and password. That we're going to do that through office.com, and that tends to be your email address from your district. So when your district signed up with Microsoft, that is what you want to sign in with, because that's going to be your subscription. So whatever the district accounts that they gave you, that's what you're going to want to use here. When you log into office.com, you're going to see this suite of choices. Before we go there, I just want to review what we talked about through these couple slides, and then we're going to log in. So here's that information I mentioned about the attendance report in the meeting. Here is, I want to show you this video about Together Mode, and you can see all the different options for screen backgrounds, and add a little fun to your classroom this year.
Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365. It's one place where people can chat, share files, and work together. But now that video conferences are the new normal, There are times when people need to feel like they're in the same room. That's when you can turn on Together Mode. It puts your team in one shared space. Microsoft AI helps break down barriers, letting you communicate more naturally and feel more connected to your team. It works for coffee breaks, team meetings, or your next all hands. So from everyday get-togethers to important meetings, be together even when you're apart.
So I like that because it showed you the different options and backgrounds. The other new thing that's coming out with the meetings is we have whiteboard in there, but they're adding some more features because they realize everyone's working on different devices. So what they're doing is they've added sticky notes, text, faster load times, and the drag and drop capabilities. And the reason they're doing this is not everyone has touch devices. So you'll be able to use your mouse or trackpad and have that same capabilities as you would with a touch device. So I like that because it makes it more accessible to more people. So those should be coming out shortly. And then one of the things that we talked about with reports, with those attendance reports, you also have within your teams, you can add these weekly assignment summaries for parents or guardians. So these are all in the PowerPoint presentation. All these links are active, so you'll have access to these later on. So right now, I'm gonna switch back to our team meeting. I just want to check the chat before we log in and make sure if there's any questions, I can answer those, and then we'll look at how to log in. Okay. All right, so I think we're in good shape right now. So welcome all resources. Yeah, so they've talked about all the resources are there. Yes, next week I'll be presenting on Monday, Flipgrid, Immersive Reader, and Translator. And then I will be doing on July 23rd, Sway. So that is what you're seeing over here in the chat. All right, so what I want to do now is go into our regular teams. Now you can see here, this is my calendar. And this is where I joined in on the meeting here. And I'm going to jump back to our meeting. If I minimize this, so here we are in our meeting. And what I wanted to show you is you can see on the side, this lights up for me. So when we're presenting in a meeting, I still have access over here to these chats, to my activity. This side is, we refer to it as the me space. So any team that I've either created or I belong to, if there's activity, that's going to show up over here. And right now you can see my activity is quiet, but I can access this without leaving the meeting. Now I know what your first question is going to be, and I'm going to answer that in a second. Can you shut that off so students can't talk on the side? Yes. And I actually added a link to the OneNote book that I made for you about how to do that. So, but I like it, especially if I'm in a meeting. Someone might come into the meeting and I may not know them, and one of my counterparts will be like, oh, that's the head of this board or so-and-so. So it's great to sometimes have that, but I know it may not always be ideal for our students. So we're going to switch now. I'm going to switch over here to showing you how to log in through office.com. And here is the link that I included with the step directions of how to disable that chat if you need to do that, if it's becoming troublesome for your students to handle that responsibility. So this is office.com. This is your way to, and your ticket to all the Microsoft products. Now, what I want to say though is just to be mindful, your district may restrict access to certain things. So if there's something that you're looking for that is not showing up, that is a discussion for your district. I know the district I worked in had a set of protocols, and their restrictions weren't, oh, we don't necessarily want you to use this. We just have to go through certain avenues to approve things. So you need to, so if there's something you're looking for that doesn't show up here, that's a district level decision. So here are the apps that I use the most. So that's why they're showing up top. If I clicked all apps, I get a slew of different options. So you can see Flipgrid, Kahoot. We have all of those available to us. So if I go back here, we're going to go look at creating a team. And here we are with teams. It's probably going to launch me right into Teams. So I'm going to show you the best way to go in and create once this loads. And we'll take a look at building. So it launched me right in. So I'm going to go back to all teams. And I want to show you how to create things. And then what'll be neat is as we create them, it will show up here later in our Me space when we go and explore that. So over here, you're going to see join or create a team. And you're going to see above that my profile. So I just want to show you in here. Right now it's saying that I'm presenting, so I'm busy, do not disturb. That way it lets my counterparts know, either just leave me a message or I'll get back to them when I'm done. You can set messages for when you're away. You can save posts or different things that you like that people have put up. So this is a great way. Go in, you want to play around with that. Since we came in through the browser, and everything right now we're doing is in the browser and it's being saved to the cloud. If you want to download or have that capability to download, you can do that here to the desktop. You also have the option, if this is available to you, you will see the other option to download here. One of the big questions I've gotten is with Chromebooks. And Chromebooks do not have the capability to download this to the desktop. So the best way is to get your students into the habit of going to office.com. And that way, no matter what device you're on, you will have access to these Microsoft products. So let's go to looking at joining a team. So we'll click that. If you were given a code to join a team, this is where you would enter that code and join the team. Here is how we'll create a team. And we're going to look at creating a class team since that's probably what most people will be using. So we'll click that. You're going to give your team a name. I'm just going to call this Demo 716. And then you can add a description of what your class is or what it's for. Then it's going to create your team. So here is where you're going to add your students. So for me, our tenant has given us different students that I can just add through. I have some addresses in other districts, and so when I work with them, I work in their tenant, and I've noticed they have students loaded in. So it depends on your district. It may generate the names, or you may need to add the names. If you have to add the names, I'm going to give you a workaround in a couple minutes where you can send out a code and a link to your students and they can join and you don't have to then add all of their names. Teachers, this is where you can add a co-teacher. So when I was teaching this spring online, I added my ESL teacher, I added my resource teachers, my CCR teachers, and they really appreciated that. I discussed it with them and it was nice for them because they had access and could see what my students were learning and what they were doing, and if they needed to help them, they could work inside of our team instead of reinventing the wheel. So we're going to skip that right now. One of my tech guys, I add him all the time to my accounts. I probably drive him crazy with that, but I won't do that to him today. So when you come in here, Microsoft has already kind of given you a template. And the one thing I love is that they continually, throughout this entire platform, offer you help and assistance. So here is finding help and training. If you're like, I forget what Jennifer said, you can go in here. And I'm going to show you throughout this product where you can find assistance. So I think it's one of the things I think has been really smart that Microsoft has done. So in here is you can design and change your logo for your team and customize that. Here's where you're going to find all your permissions and your managing of your channel. So we're going to go in and look at that first because I know that's a priority for a lot of people. So when you're in here and managing your files, I want to show you that you have members and guests. So if I click this, I should have my students as members. I probably didn't press add. If I had added them and not just entered their names and not clicked add, you would see them show up here. And members, so owners have the most amount of permission. Owners can add students, remove students. They set the permissions for the team. They can add and delete content. Members do not have as many rights. They can add and delete content. They cannot add or remove members. And then you have guests. You can add a guest to your team, and they pretty much have read-only permissions. So they really can't do a lot of adding and taking away. So here, if we had channels set up, which I didn't have any, we can add a channel right now. And we can call this period 1. And I can put a description in. I could set it to be private for small group and invite specific students, or I can make it standard for everyone and it will automatically generate, and you will see that get added to the left side of our screen. And there's our period 1. So I want to go back here into management. That kind of booted me out when we did that. And then here's where you can manage your channels and access and allow the permissions and how you want them. Setting is where you really get into the meat of the permissions. This is where you can change that theme for that square over here, your member permissions. Just like with classroom management, that digital citizenship is going to play an important role in making a really nice, successful online classroom. So you might want to do that where you don't smile until December, that old expression, and really restrict the kids' permissions and then kind of use those as a carrot in front of the cart as they get better and more responsible. That's up to you how you want to handle that, but know this is where you're going to have access to all that. So here, all those member permissions, they can delete or restore channels. You may not want your students to do that. So that's where you may not want to give them that permission. So look at that and you just customize that for yourself. Here's the guest. Again, do not have that permission. I also don't have any guests in here right now. Here's app mention. So if I want to give praise to a student, or I want to make sure a group sees a certain message or an activity post, I will app mention them. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit, but this gives you the permissions around that. And here is that workaround. If you don't want to have to insert all of your students, here is where you can generate this code. And you can send this code. You can either project it on your screen if you're in class with your students, or you can copy it and send it out to them. And they can join your team through that code. You can also send them links, and I can show you later how to access those links. Here's the fun stuff. Here's what's going to keep them motivated. This is what's going to keep them having a little fun with this so it's not so dry. You have access to your GIFs, your stickers, your memes. Again, you can control the permissions. Your OneNote class notebook, your permissions, and your tags. So those are all things. Here's some, again, we had talked about, I know I was required to provide information with activity and engagement. So here is where you're going to get your engagement, and it's really going to just give you that broad overall view of engagement and what's happening in your meeting. It's going to tell you your number of users, your apps, if you have SharePoint files that are attached to it, posts, replies, mentions, reactions. I'll show you where the reactions are. They're in our posts. And then your active users, meetings, and your engagement. So this is a great resource to have to show your online activity. Here's apps that I tend to have. So it has generated, these are ones I have easy access to when I am creating my teams. And then here you'll have access to more apps. So when go back here in our general, I want to show you before we stop talking about analytics, there is a really great app that I would highly recommend adding to any team. It's called Insights. And Insights is going to give you, you're just going to click add, and it's going to become a link at the top here for you. So you can see here, students don't have access to Insight. It's only for the teacher. And what Insight is going to do, it's going to give you a little more detailed view. And as you can see, you can export it to Excel. So this is where you actually are going to see your students' names pop up. So you will get a little more detailed view of that. You're going to see the activity, the grades, on-time assignments, average time for feedback, and communication activity. All time, over 30 days, 7 days today, or you can pick on the calendar a specific day. So you can filter students, and then again, you can export that to Excel. So it just gives you another tool for tracking that online activity. So I want to go here across the top for posts and go through your main things that you have available to you. And then I want to take you into some teams that I have built out. So here we look at posts, and what you can see, this is all of the activity that's going to happen for your entire team. It gets a little messy, I think, in posts. And that's where your channels are going to add a really nice layer of organization. So you really want to build out and customize your channels to minimize this clutter, because every time I add something, every time I post an assignment, it is going to show up in this general channel, and it gets a little messy as you go on. So developing those individualized channels where you can customize and have things posted specifically to those audience that needs it is going to be really helpful in keeping this neat for your students. So let's just talk about posts and what your options are for posting. So again, I like enlarging that format. So it gives me that beautiful options that I would see in a Word document, plus a few more things. So here I can add some links. I also have more options to insert tables. I can mark something as important. And then too, I have the option of that undo. Here's where you're going to want to put a heading. So I might want to say welcome. Oh, if I could spell. Here we go. So you'll give a heading. This is where you can have some settings. And here is the post in the channel. So this is where you're going to get, I can post in multiple channels. I can select channels. So maybe I just want this. Maybe I have teams set up for different classes. I can pick, these are all the teams I've ever created, and I can post to them. So I want to go here and stay within our team, and I can pick period 1 to post this to. And so now it's going to be posted in the general, and it's going to get posted to period 1. I can do an @ mention. If I had added any students, I could do that classic @ sign and then pick one of my students. But because I didn't add anybody, it's not going to let me do that. Down here, you can add files. Again, we have emojis, the GIFs, stickers. You can add stream videos. If you're not familiar with Stream, Stream is one of your 365 tools, and a lot of teachers like it because it's all in-house. It's not public like YouTube is. So you have a little more flexibility with copyright in the respect of, because you're not sharing it to the public and you're just sharing it in your classroom. Those are the copyrights that would apply to it. So you can not have to worry about things showing up. It's a great place to record your lessons and then incorporate them into Teams. If you need more information about Stream, I've included that in the OneNote I built for you. And you can also reach out through email and I can get you more information if you're interested. Here is Praise. This is an awesome one for kids. Adults like it too, though. I mean, who doesn't want to get some recognition? So what you would do is pick, a trait that you want to recognize someone for. You can personalize it. Great job. I don't know what you want to say with winning, or you can say with becoming, class representative. Class rep. And then you pick the specific kid's name, and they're going to get an @ mention, and it's going to get shown to the entire class. So again, because I didn't pick somebody, I'm having that little bit of an issue today. You can add checklists. So if you have a project and you want to say, project is due Friday, make sure you work through this checklist to have everything ready. You can post that. You can post polls and get those little temperature checks, or use it as an exit ticket after a class. And post a question and see what the response is. Polly is another form of polling. So you really have a lot of options for what you can post to students. I want to take you out of this team right now, and I want to show you ones that I've created. And then I'll pause and we'll take a little break and get some questions. So here is the one I built with the class notebook. And I designed it with early elementary channels, and then I chose some to model what a middle school or high school would look like. So here you can see that general gets a little bit messy. Anything I've ever done and adding to the teams has been put here. So that's where these channels make a nice little cleanup and specialized things for everybody. So here you can see I've added some opinion writing assignments for the kids. There's a Henry and Mudge where we've added a Microsoft Forms for them to take. And here's a reminder about their pet writing to get complete. Here I've put in a link to Khan Academy for them to join. Here I've wanted them to watch a Flipgrid video, and then they are going to respond. You can see here that after watching the video, I would want them to reply and give me a problem. So in science, I put in some posts. Here, they're going to use Pear Deck and complete a KWL chart. There's a video for them to watch, and then I put in a poll to get some information to see what they got out of the video. So one of the things I heard back from parents again and again was they wanted everything in one spot. They didn't want to have to click around through multiple websites and different links. So that, I think, is one of the beautiful parts of Teams, is that it's all here in one place for you. And then here in social studies, here is another Flipgrid activity for them to go to. Now, I do tell students when I'm posting things here that in general is where the class notebook is housed, where your assignments are, and we'll take a look at those now before moving on. Class notebook is an amazing tool, and I do whole sessions on class notebook. If you want more information about class notebook, please reach out. Just to let you know, I'll go over that. Let me do that real quick before we go into assignments. I think it'll make a little more sense doing this first. So in class notebook, I'm just going to give you a really brief overview. You have it set up that again, Microsoft gives you help with everything. Every first section on here is help and tutorial. You have a collaboration space, and think of it as a big whiteboard where you can add anything and everything to that collaboration space. So one example I'll do with students is I posted tangrams, and then every student went and chose one and marked up the letters for what they wanted, what shapes they saw. You have a content library, which is view only. And this is where you can post things such as syllabus. Maybe there's books that you want your students to reference. This is going to be view only. This is not anywhere they can collaborate or add to. I love the teacher only section. This is where you can develop lessons. The kids don't even see that tab. And then when you're ready, you can go into your class notebook. You can distribute pages. You want to think of this as a traditional 3-ring binder with sections and tabs, and then every student is given their own little 1-inch binder to work in. And the teacher sets the tabs. The teacher can distribute the pages that they want students to be working in. And then teacher can collect that at any time. And then through here, you can review student work. You can go on to comment and take a look at student work and give that feedback that's necessary. And really have a great place to work with students in that little semi-private area where it's just the teacher and the student working together. So again, if you want more information, that's such a robust tool. I could talk for the next hour on OneNote by itself. I want to move to assignments. So here is where, this is a personal decision and a district decision. You may want to do assignments in here. You may not want to. I know you all use Canvas, and I am going to make sure you have some links on how to use Teams in Canvas. And that information is actually coming from the Canvas community. So it'll really help you insert this, the Teams and the different things that we're using today to make it as easy as possible for you to mesh those two things together. Grades and assignments can also be meshed, but that's a district preference. So that is a district decision. If that's something your district chooses to do and you need more information on that, let me know. Some teachers, even if their districts does mesh the grades together and do that uploading, they still like to insert themselves and have that final control. So again, if you want more information on that, please reach out. But here you can see assignments. You can have drafts. These are things I've assigned to students, and then it will show you what you've graded. I want to show you an assignment for students, and what will go into, once it's been graded, you can export it to Excel. If we look at editing the assignment, you can look here where you put a title in, directions, I've put in a form, and then you can give due dates and all the settings, and you can assign it to specific channels. Again, it makes that nice layer of organization with it. The other thing I like too is when I'm in an assignment, I can also see the student view. This is what my students are going to see. And the one thing I want to point out is Immersive Reader and Translator are built into Teams. There's nothing you have to add. It is a resource that is completely built in. So your students will see this throughout. Even if I'm going to scooch back here to a post. If I go here, students can react to a post. And then two, I also have these options where Translate and Immersive Reader are built in. I don't have to do anything. So that is a great resource that you might want to educate your students and your parents on, especially because our students come to us from such diverse backgrounds. So they are built in throughout all of these features. So let me go back here to assignments. I know I'm doing a little bouncing, but I just thought that was so important to show you, because with the online, it is so wonderful when there's things to assist our students and help make them more independent. So we looked at our grade. Let's go look at our grades now. And in here, it will generate the students' grades for me. And again, I can export them to Excel, so an Excel file. So that is some more options. Here, I want to go across. You can see where I have, we added that Insights tab. I can add posts or links. This is a kids post article. And then two, I want to show you some other things that you can add. I love Planner. I think it's an amazing resource for students. So when you click that plus to add a tab, you'll see planners here. You have Kahoot, Pear Deck. You can add any website link. It will start to learn the sites that you like and the apps that you like. You can see YouTube is here, and it will start to generate them. It will start to recognize them. So I want to show you Planner, and then I want to go to Files because I feel like I didn't spend enough time on that, and I want to show you some great things there. But I want to, we'll start here with Planner. I think this is so good. I know so many of us have kids that are coming to us with needs or 504 plans or IEPs. And this is a great way to help address those. Again, I just added it here in the Add tab. And then I labeled it, I called mine book report, because I gave it the task of breaking down the steps of a book report. So adding a new bucket it's adding a new project. Then within that project, you add tasks. So you can see here, this one's been completed. Pick your topic. Then I want the students to find a book. Then once they find their book, I want them to find the birthday and where that person was born. And as they complete these, they'll check them off. And it's a really great way to break it down for those students who need that step-by-step. Here too, if you have students that maybe you have to track behavior every day, you could set up a task in a bucket and assign it to specific students. So this is private. Those students are the only ones that are going to get those notices. So here too, this is called the board view of it. You have a list view. I want to show you the chart. So here is where you're going to get that graphing and that information at the progress of those tasks. And then to here, you can get a calendar view of it. So those people that are assigned those tasks are the ones that are going to have the view of it. So you can be mindful of those privacy rights. I want to go back and look at files, and I want to show you, because so many of us are coming and working from different devices. In here, if you post stuff in class materials, that's going to be that view only. One of the nice parts, especially if you're using Teams for collaborating with grade partners, when you upload files, you're actually uploading a copy of the file. So if the original will stay on your desktop, you don't lose that original at all. But in the same respect, if you leave the district or you leave your company, that copy and that knowledge always stays within the teams. So it's a great balance of you keeping your resources, but the district doesn't lose that knowledge and information. And I want to show you this too. I think it's so important because so many of us are coming from different places. Microsoft really likes to play nice with all the different products. So you can add files from your Google Drive. You can add from your Dropbox. You can add from your SharePoint. I haven't used this product, so I can't speak too much on that one. But you have access to download information from all these different resources. So that's one of the things I love about Microsoft, is it's so inclusive, and it's not like, nope, you can't use that. We'll only do it this way. So one of the things too I want to show you, and then we are just cruising through here. We'll take a break shortly. This is a great way too that you can set up meetings for your students or set up office hours, and you can have them reoccurring. And by creating that separate channel for their students, you don't have to make a new link every time. It is just clean and easy, and the students can continually just go back to that same link every week. And I've found when I can make things simple and repetitive for students, it takes so much of that ease, that anxiety away. So that ease and simplifying will make it so much more comfortable for yourself and for your students. Now, if you need to do breakout rooms and you have, say these are not periods, but they're groups, you could click on each one of these and you could do a meet now. And so you would meet now with that group, you would click this second group, meet now, click the third group, meet now, and it would let you toggle back and forth between your 3 groups and meet with them while they're working. So I know right now I have these set up per period, but you can also make channels for small groups. Now be aware, when you make private channels, you cannot record those meetings. But either way, I would check with districts, your district's comfort level with recording anyway, to make sure you're following district policy. So I'm going to pause for a minute because I know we've covered so much stuff. I'm going to scooch over to our chat. So here's our meeting, and I'm going to click into that. When we made our meeting, it created a chat for us. So I'm going to back up here, and I want to start answering some of these questions for you. If you assign something in Teams, can you link it to Canvas? Yes, you can. You can have Teams meetings linked into Canvas. That's what they did for you all today. And you can link the Teams into Canvas as well. So I will get you all of that information on our break, and I'll post it here in the chat. I found 2 great resources that walk you through step-by-step how to do that. I'll make sure you have that today before you leave. So Teams and Canvas are similar. They're both platforms for presenting information. Teams has things, so a lot of organizations are using Teams and for file sharing. They're using it because everything's in one place. And on a lot of levels, chat and activity, which we haven't explored yet, we're going to do that after our break. This is even replacing email for a lot of districts because they're finding it's cutting down because they're able to post things here. They don't have to send out a huge email because people are able to talk in this chat. There's a lot less email and paperwork. How do you access the OneNote? So the OneNote class notebook is built into Teams and it's under the General tab and you'll see it there. I'm just going through our questions. How is a channel different than a team? A channel is an organizational level built into the team. So you want to think of your team as your big classroom. And then a channel is a group within that classroom, or even could be thought of as a file in that classroom. Need to know where the OneNote is as well. Okay, so the class, so it's called a OneNote class notebook. That's built into Teams. And if you want the one notebook that I built for you, I am going to pause right now. I'm going to switch over and I'm going to give you the bit.ly link for that. And that's going to have everything that we're talking about in here today. I'm going to post that right back in our meeting. And let me go back. Oh, that's our meeting options. Let me go back here. Here is the bit.ly. And this is going to be a great resource for you. As I've been learning and making that transition from being a classroom teacher into being a Microsoft learning consultant, every time I found something new, every time I learned something new, I tried to pour it into that OneNote that I built for y'all. So I will constantly be adding to it as things arise too. So that's the link to the OneNote for the information. How is a channel different than team? We just talked about that. So is this different than using the Canvas courses? Are you referring to, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, so the courses that are built into Canvas. I'm not familiar with the courses that you have built into Canvas, so I'm not going to be able to speak very well on that. This is really a platform for you to present. So the district is building Canvas courses. So how would I be able to pair this with that? Well, you can incorporate your team into Canvas. You can incorporate your team's meetings into Canvas, and you can hook the links together. And that's what I'm going to get you information on today. So you'll have those step-by-step directions, how to marry the two together. Where do you get the book report again? Okay, so I'm going to go back into our team, and I'm going to show you where to get the book report. So really what it is I'm going to go, hang on, I want to make sure I'm doing this step by step. I went to General, then I went to the plus sign. It's called Add a Tab. Here is where you're going to find the planner. Now you can call your planner whatever you wanted to. I called it, so here's the existing plans and you'll see the book report there. I can create a new one and call it John's plan. You know, maybe you have a student that has a need to have things broken down specifically for him. I can post it to a channel. So if he has a private channel, I can send that right to his private channel. If I don't want other students to see it, we're not going to post that to a channel or tab. So we can save that, and then that's going to generate a new task for us. And then here is, you're going to add your tasks, and then you can also add new buckets. So I hope that answers that question. We have been in this for an hour. You all have been amazing. So you can use small group to work inside this platform too. where Canvas, yes. So yes, this has a little more flexibility. I've worked with Canvas a little bit. I'm much more knowledgeable with the Teams platform. And so when we looked, when would I use book report versus assignments? Okay, so you assign that to a specific child when you, all right, I don't want to jump around. Let me answer one question, and before, this is where my own ADD is kicking in here. So let me go back to our teams. And here is where you can make your small groups. So I can add a channel and go and I can have it for specific members. So I can make it, say, small group 1, and then I don't want that shared with anybody. I want it to be private and specific. And so then what I'll do is it will add that channel, and then I can, here's where you add those specific people to that channel. So it is something that then they will only add access to. And you could also, if you have a resource teacher, ESL teacher, you want to be a part of that, you can too. So I'm going to skip that right now. I want to go back to our general. Here's our posts. So we called that one John. When you, if you want to assign it to a specific child, you will, let's enter a task name, and we're going to say, I don't know, we'll just say homework. Maybe that's something that John, you're working on with him, and here's assign. So you're going to assign that to that specific student, and then you'll add the task. So he'll get a notice saying that that task has been assigned to him. I hope that answers those questions. Are there any more questions at this point for what we've shown you? All right, what I want to do is let's take a 5-minute, 10-minute break. I will stay on and answer any more questions, and then we're going to go into, I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint. If you want to access that, take a look here. What I did for you here are resources, if this would help you. Actually, let's do this. Let's do a 10-minute break. And during that time, if you want to play with everything and check out the features, create one. In the PowerPoint, what I've done as a resource for you is I've given you all the features for our class teams. I've given you the features and the special things that are special to the professional learning community team, a staff team, and an other. So why don't we take the next 10 to 15 minutes, let you create, let you experiment, add things, add apps, then we'll come back together. I'll be online this whole time answering questions for that. Why don't we get back together around 5 of 12? We'll finish up looking at the team, and we'll go over this space over here, and then we'll do one more question and answer. So I'll stay on. Let's meet back again at 5 of. And oh, you're seeing another meeting for later today. And then I'll answer questions and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to start looking at our questions and answer those, and then feel free to start playing and come back. Okay, so the district is building Canvas. Okay, sorry, I'm reading out loud here. We showed you how to assign specifics, so I think we got that question. When you assign a task to a specific student, do they just click the link and it will take them to that file? Yes, it will. They'll get an @ mention for that specific task. You can insert more information for that task for them if you want to. Class notebook. And this is very good for young learners. I actually am presenting this afternoon. That's, if you want, I will show you that while we're on break. I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to show you the class notebook I've actually built for preschoolers. I'm actually presenting it this afternoon in St. Louis, and I'm going to show you the OneNote that I built for you. So this is the OneNote I built for you guys. I continually add to it. There's some extra information, but it's just such a great resource. So in Teams, if you go to the Teams section, there is a quick start guide for educators. It's just awesome. It's just kind of tells you what every button is, where to go. There's different ones. There's ones for, I have included ones for students here, ones for teachers. Here are, if you like videos, here's some great 1 to 2 minute videos, a student help center. So I wanted to put some resources that you could give out to your students. Here's a getting started. Here's all about Teams meetings. I put in all those new features that are coming up. Some have just recently got out, but these are coming up shortly. Here are ones that were just released and announced on the 8th. I just picked 2 that I thought would be the most beneficial, that together mode. There's also dynamic. There's video filters. And if you want to read the whole article, that's there. I have some things about meetings versus live events. Depends on how you present and the types of people you present to. Information on the 4 different types of teams. And it's a little more detailed. Then I also have, if you're looking for the immersive reader tools that we talked about, translator features, they're all here for you, and whiteboard, and then planner. That's what I just showed you for assigning students. And here's information on planner and how to use planner. There's a little extra video if you want more information and to dive a little deeper into planner. That's all there for you. So that is what is here. All these topics are in that bit.ly I gave you. I know it's a little overwhelming, but as you use more Microsoft products, you may want that information. I'm going to switch now and show you that Teams that I built for pre-K. Oh, hang on, I've seen a lot of questions. Let me back up. Okay. Class notebook, young learners, where's the information you just showed? How do I get to those resources? Okay, so this is that bit.ly account. You can't get there using bit.ly. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. I'm going to share this. And I'm going to just give you a direct link to this. Now, the bit.ly might be opening up in a browser window, and you may not be seeing it pop up in the way that you think. It's not downloadable, and I've looked into how to download it, but because I built it with a company account, for whatever reason, there's parameters on that it doesn't become downloadable. So found that out the hard way, sorry. Okay, so here is the direct link to that OneNote I built. If that doesn't work, let me know. We'll try and come up with a plan C. Let me go into showing you the one I've built for preschool. So for the little guys, the biggest, I taught first grade, just a little disclosure. I've taught kindergarten, 5th grade, everything, but specifically online school, I was doing first grade at the time. And so with my background in early childhood, I was asked to help with this. And I thought the best way, given all the feedback I got from my first grade families, was to do one assignment in each channel per week. So that way it was clean, it was easy. I embedded the videos, gave the directions, and again, the families had that immersive reader feature and translator here for them. Music and movement. So what we did was, we embedded, we said to the kids, practice this song and we're going to sing it at circle time on Fridays. And then what I did is, if you get into SharePoint, what I did was I built a SharePoint for the parents as a resource. So you could embed, why is my SharePoint? Here we go. You could embed a SharePoint into a channel. And here I have, parent webinars, and they can join this, and everything is here. Here's the link to join the meeting. They don't have to go anywhere. So it really is nice for them to have access to all of these things in one spot, and to be able to, let me see if I can get back to that main page. And you can update it regularly. And so here in the middle is called news, and they can carousel through and pick different news articles. So every week you could add to this and not have to constantly be making a new newsletter for the little ones. But then they also have the ability to go back and flip through it and have that resource. Here for reading, again, I put a link with a story, but I embedded it right here. They don't have to go anywhere. And the same thing, I did the circle time as a reoccurring meeting. So again, it's that consistency, that ease. They can just click on that link every week and not have to have a new one. Now, if we go back to general, I actually did build a class notebook for this group. And in this class notebook, I tried again to make it really simple, and again, make it a one-stop resource for these families. And here you can see in the content library I built for them, things almost as resources for the parents. So I put in different music videos that they could do with the kids if they were looking for more. I put in social stories to talk about COVID and why they have to learn from home. You'll see those. Sometimes they take a little minute to generate. And you'll see those all linked in here. Then when you get down here to the students, I have everything. These all match the channels. So there's a reading channel, there's a reading tab, there's a science channel, there's a science tab. So then they can go in here, and again, a link to the story again, so they don't have to go back to that channel and do the link there. And then here, which is so nice, is we have all the drawing tools. So the kids can respond with a drawing of Marta. They can do a small, oh, hang on, I gotta pick my ink here. I gotta pick a pencil. They can pick, hang on, sorry. I'm there, picking my ink. All right, let's see if there we go. So they can draw their answer. The kids also have the option that they can dictate an answer. They can also insert an audio recording. So I have to click down here. Let me get out of draw and go back to my mouse. But they can insert an audio recording. You have a lot of options for how they can respond. So it really is a nice format that helps them to respond in different ways and not have to just always type something or always draw a picture. They have those dictate or record audio features. Their parents could record a video of them and embed that or insert that. So here you have a lot of great ways for students to interact, to provide resources to parents, and then for the kids to respond individually. So in that each student did have their own notebook, yes. So I had the assignment set up in the channels, and then the kids, to respond to the story they read or the social story, they would go into their notebook and record their answer in their individual notebook. So yes, they each had their own notebook for that. All right. You would like a copy of the, yes, I can share that St. Louis one with you. Let me go back in here, and I'm going to go to, what I can do is get a link to the team. So this is actually, do you want, okay, hang on, let me go back to the chat so we can answer this. Do you want a link to the team so you can see the team, or do you want a link to the notebook? Both. You got it. All right, so if I go back into the team, this is where I'm going to send you a link to the team. I'm going to copy it, and I'll post it in our chat. All right. If you have issue with it, let me know. It should work. If not, I'll get you the code to that. And then again, please reach out. My email is jennifer.jury@usmie.com. And I'd be happy to answer questions or get you more specific resources if you need them. How are you all doing? Anybody had the link isn't working for you? Okay, let me go back into the team, and I'm going to post the code. And then what you'll have to do though is when you have the option to, let me go to me, I'm in managing team. Okay, settings. When you saw that join, where you can create a team or join a team, you're going to want to join a team. So let me generate a code for this. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go back to our chat, and I'll put that in here. So you can just then join the team. And you may have to wait for me to go in and approve, like a pending, it may say pending approval. So I'll go in and check after the conference, and anybody who wanted to join that one can then see that. I'll get those approved. All right, I am going to go and start now explaining this space over here. So what we were just in, that team area, all of that collaboration, they call that the we space. That's where you're working with everybody. This is everything that is personal to you. All right, let me figure out, we're going to work on this in a little bit. Let me get through the me space. I wonder, and then I will figure out why those links are not working for you. And I could even just, if you email me, I can, once I have your email, I can add you directly to that team. And that way you'll get a direct invite. So anybody who's looking for something, they said the code is missing a letter. All right, let me do that quick before we get too far into this. So if I go in here, I went to manage my team. So you're all going to be experts on this and where to find this stuff afterwards. Okay, so we're going to go to our team code. I'm just pressing copy. So copy to the clipboard, and we'll see if that copied correctly. And there it is. See if you can just copy and paste it. That way sometimes you get the zeros and ones, and that sometimes messes up. If that doesn't, send me an email and I can add you directly to those teams. All right, let's take a look at our chat. So our chat is any activity any posts. So these are everybody I work with. And I like to think of this as like a big bulletin board. So if you have an announcement, you have something that you want to discuss with the group as a whole, this is where you're going to want to put it. So you can have posts. People can reply directly to the post. I can start a new announcement to everybody. I have options here. I can respond to a post with, maybe it doesn't need an actual reply, but I want to just give an emoji. I have other options here too. If I like that information, in fact, on this one, I actually saved it. So you can see up in my profile, they're all saved for later. I can copy, I can share it in my email. Again, I have that Translate Immersive Reader all built in. So think, again, this is just any team you belong to or a team that you created. This is where you're going to see all those announcements that pertain to you. Chat, this gets, these are your private conversations, or these are also where if you have a meeting, it's going to generate a chat for you. So if you take a look here, here's our chat. You can see we're in the meeting, it's recording. Right now, I can see there are 54 members in our meeting. I have settings and details I can go look at. Here's where the files are. Here's where I've uploaded that team PowerPoint for you to refer to later, which has all the resources and the links to the OneNotes. They're all here. If someone was taking meeting notes, now be aware, meeting notes are not personal. If someone is taking meeting notes, then they're available to everyone who is in that meeting. And then to you also, if you did a whiteboard, this will all show up in that chat. So if we go back to chat, this is where I'm seeing all of your questions. And I guess something just showed up for me for earlier. Then here are my teams. So this is all of my teams that I belong to or I have created. Again, here's that join team or create team. Here's all my assignments. So when we created assignments earlier in our team, I can click on a team with that. So we did that. This was the team we were working in. And here are all the assignments. Here's all the ones the kids are working on. I can look and see all the ones that are graded. So it's nice to just have all of that in that for me. Calendar. This is where we create our meetings. This is where you can meet now with someone and you have a lot of options. So we're going to do that right now. Let's create a meeting. Oh, we didn't talk about this much. It's a whole nother presentation, but this is also where you would create a live event if you were doing a big presentation and you needed more than 300 people to attend. So the meeting we're in right now has capability up to 300. If you knew your numbers were going to be over that, then this is where you would create a live event from this venue. So let's just say we're going to make a new meeting. I'm going to put the meeting for tomorrow. We'll call it demo meeting. So when I see it show up on my calendar later, I'm not questioning what it was. I can invite people. And then here's where a nice part is. You can have that repeat. This is where I've been setting up the office hours with the weekly repeats. And once it's done, I can set it and forget it. And this is where you can add it to your channels. So when you saw it showing up, that weekly meeting for Circle Time, it's because I went down here to that preschool. I picked the preschool and then there's my channels and I just added it directly to the channels. So it is so nice. This is where I think Teams does a really good job of being cohesive. And then if you use Outlook, anything I create here in Teams automatically gets added to my Outlook calendar. So it really meshes together beautifully, and I didn't have to do anything. It did it all for me. If you are working with colleagues, you can have the scheduling assistant. And so I can say I'm doing a meeting with my IT guy. I can look when he's available. I see my schedule and I can pick a spot when we're both available. And then it will send an invite to him. He can choose to accept it, or he can suggest a different time, or he can decline it. I hope he doesn't do that though. So that will go back to our meeting details. Here too, like when I'm creating a professional development, if we have a minute, I'll show you teams created for professional development. I can enclose an agenda, and so that people have that. You can also, once you create the link, that's where you can add files. So for example, I added that PowerPoint presentation to today's Microsoft Teams meeting a couple days ago. So this feature, I do not have this feature in my tenant, but I will explain it to you. I'm not sure if your tenant has it available to you. This is to make phone calls. Some districts purchase a phone call subscription, others do not. If you do not see the option to dial a number, your organization has not purchased it. Mine has not. I can only call people within my organization. So some teachers like to have this because they can contact students without using their personal devices. But again, that's a district level decision for cost and purposes. So here's all the different files that I have been using within my teams. Here's the drives and cloud storage that I've been pulling from. And here is apps that I have been currently using. And so this is kind of like my little bank to pull from that I've already associated with my teams. But here's where I can go shopping. Here's where I can go look, peruse, and pick some extra sites. Now you'll see some that I'm already using listed here, but this is just the Mac Daddy list of what's available to you. I see, I just want to make sure I'm not missing a question, so I'm going to pop back up here to chat. Okay, it looks like we're good right now. All right, this is how to do I get to the PowerPoint? Go up to Files. So if you click on Files, there's the PowerPoint presentation for today. So you're in our chat, and you're going to go up to Files, and you'll see the PowerPoint. And then, okay, so we talked about apps. This is where you're going shopping and picking what you want to use. And then help. Again, I think Microsoft does an amazing job with never leaving you too far from where you could get help. Here is, I want to show you how this is divided up. So under topics, if you're a list person, if you like training videos, they've broken it down into nice bite-sized pieces. So everything's done in a 1 or 2 minute video clip. So it's not overwhelming. So you can go in here, search your topic, see what you're trying to do, and it'll pull up a video for you. So topics was that step-by-step, real linear, training videos, and what's new. They are constantly adding new things. This is where you could suggest features, is also in this help section. And then the about. So here you have just good old Microsoft technology information stuff. So we are with about 20 minutes left. I've given you guys so much information today. Okay, so you got kicked. Okay. Email me this. So this person with this last question, just email me and I will answer any questions you have specifically. So, and I'll try and help you with that. If there's any questions, anything I can help you with today, any resources, I'm going to get you those Canvas resources. In fact, I can do that right now while people are thinking of questions. I actually just posted those two things in a conference yesterday. So I don't know if any of you all are familiar with Wakelet. I use Wakelet to help organize myself. I'm going to go to a new screen and put up Wakelet. And so as I find online resources, I pull them in here so that it's a great way to organize. For example, as I've been learning about Microsoft, I find a great resource. I throw it in my Wakelet so that I can go back and visit it later, or a link I really like. So if I go in here, I'm going to find, it's not loading. Okay. All right, there we go. So here is the, I'm going to show you this one with since there were so many questions about Canvas. I found this really great site that worked. It's a Canvas community that answers questions. And I'm going to put this link in our chat that we're in today. And this is a great link to help you and that Canvas community as a whole. If you have questions about incorporating teams into Canvas, they'll be able to really direct you in a great place. Would you mind going back to live meetings? Okay, here we are. How do you initiate one from Teams? Okay, so and also to use the white, okay, I will answer those questions right now. Okay, I want to make sure I'm answering them in order. Is it possible to build OneNote assignments, quizzes in advance and keep them hidden? Yes, you can totally keep them hidden from the kids. That's what the teacher only section is for. So if you go back to your class notebook, and I'm going to get that loaded for you, just give me a second. If you go back in the class notebook, the kids do not even see the teacher only section. That is your secret little workplace that they do not have access to. They do not even see the tab for. And you can create anything you need in there. And let me show you what that's going to look like. So you're in here, say you're working on this creative writing assignment for the kids. You've been working on it, you're finished with it, you're ready to push it out to the students. You go up here to class notebook. I click distribute the page. I can distribute it to everyone. I can distribute it to an individual. If I've made groups, I can distribute it to a group. If I have other notebooks, I can distribute it across notebooks. So for the sake of what we're doing, I'm going to just distribute the page to everyone. And then I'm going to show you, it takes a second. So you decide where you want it. I want to put it in the ELA section of the kids' binders, and then it's going to click distribute. Now it takes a minute to generate, so you're going to want to do that ahead of time. It doesn't take long, but it does take a minute or two. And then if we go back into, so it's saying it's done now. If I go back over here to my students, I click on ELA. I'm going to see that creative writing assignment show up. And there it is. So the kids had no access to it. They did not see it until I distributed it to them. I hope that answered your question. Okay. Would you mind going back to live meetings? How do you initiate one from Teams? Also, how do you use Whiteboard in live meetings? Okay, let's go back to Teams. We'll go back to our Teams meeting. Let's say we're in period 1. Up here, you have a meet button. So I could either meet now, or I could schedule a meeting, and it would be with anybody who's associated with period 1. So if I do this right now, it's going to kind of mess things up because this will be competing for my camera and my microphone, but that's how you do it. Now you could also put out an announcement to the kids, let's meet now, and you know, you can do it that way, or you can schedule it. But this is also how you can do the breakout meetings, where you click period 1, meet now, period 2, meet now, period 3, meet now, and it will let you toggle back and forth between the 3 of them. They're coming out with breakout meetings within a meeting. So that's coming out this fall. I was talking with my tech guy. We're hoping September that will be ready to launch. That's what they're really aiming for, is for that new feature, so that you don't have to toggle back, and it's going to be a little more streamlined. But that's in the pipeline to come out for within the meetings too, instead of bouncing between the channels. But right now, bouncing between the channels is a really good workaround. Let me go back to the chat. We're in Teams. Okay. Wakelet. Is Wakelet just a visual way to display some bookmark sites? On a lot of levels, yes. It really is. It's just a way of organizing your, you don't have to it bookmarks them within the Wakelet. So I don't have that. So if you go up to your favorites, you get that long laundry list, or you have to make folders. I don't have to do that. My Wakelet, and I have it built in up here. I added it, so all I have to do is click that W, click which one I want it in, and to me, it's just a little easier, a little cleaner. Visually, it just works for me a little more than my favorites. Now, there is a collections built in here to the Edge browser. I haven't played with that much. I kind of feel like it's similar to a Wakelet, and because I already started building a Wakelet, I just kind of ran with it. You don't see okay, what if I don't see the meet button? That is probably district level. They may have restricted some meetings. So check with your district and see what the permissions are. I know sometimes they put restrictions on things because they are trying to safeguard the kids from having all these side meetings or things like that. So if you don't see something, that may have been a district decision. What if I don't see the meet button? Okay, we just talked about that. And not seeing the presentation. All right, let me go back into our PowerPoint. I'm going to give you a little presenting trick that it took me a couple months to figure out. If you see this bar down here, I'm in book. If I go into full present, my entire screen gets taken up. But if I go into this reading view, you get that nice big large PowerPoint presentation, but I still get access to all of my stuff at the bottom. So when you're working with kids, it really helps you to be able to toggle back and forth and not lose or have that lag time. So just a little tip if you're going to be presenting to the kids this fall. All right, so this is our PowerPoint presentation. I want to, went too far. Those were all the slides I put together for you. Here's our resources. Here is the Microsoft Education Center. Here is, if you're not familiar with the Microsoft Education Center, it is free to educators. All you need to do is go log in with your work email, and you have an enormous amount of courses you can take that are all free. You can take them at your leisure, at your own pace. You can earn Microsoft badges, and it will store all those badges in a transcript for you. After 2 hours of coursework, you earn your Microsoft Innovative Educator badge. Here is the code to redeem that if you're interested. And let me show you with that Microsoft Education Center Center resource looks like. We should go up here. So again, I'm in my desktop. That popped right over. I didn't have to do anything to let you all see that. So here's the Education Center. You can see I've created a profile. Once you do that, you're going to redeem your code here and receive that credit for it. I'm just going to show you how I like to use this site. I like to go in here under training, and I like to look up things by topic. I think sometimes the pathways get overwhelming, and I don't necessarily want to commit to a 12-week course. So you can see courses that I've either taken and kind of gone back to are listed here. They have Flipgrid classes, inclusive classrooms, information about OneNote. You have a lot of resources for online learning. And again, these are all free. You can take them at your leisure. And then once you can start earning badges. If you look at, like, I have my profile, and then you start accumulating all of those badges. So that is a resource that's completely free to you, that you have. People are saying they're having a hard time with the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to go back to that traditional view of PowerPoint, and I am going to just share it with you in the link, and hopefully that will help. If you're still struggling with that, let me know, but give me 1 minute, and I'm going to just take those editing permissions out. Sorry, guys. Copy the link, and I will post that in our chat that we've been having. And then if you would indulge me, I'll show you, since we have 10 minutes, I'm going to show you a new feature that just came out too in PowerPoint. If you're going to be doing a lot of presentation, yep, there it is. If you're going to be doing a lot of presentations this year, there's a new thing that just came out, PowerPoint Live, and I'm going to kind of capitalize on our last 10 minutes. Let me just answer questions. Do I need to set up teacher file only in the class notebook? When you are creating your class notebook, it will give you the option to have the teacher file. Click yes that you want it then. If you did not see it, you can always go back later and enable that. Okay, so we want to make sure, yes, go ahead. Make sure everyone signs into Canvas.
Is it a good time to do that now?
Absolutely, go for it. I was just gonna, yep.
Awesome. Okay, I'm so sorry to cut you short. I'm sure
no, you're totally fine.
But maybe we'll add it to a resource somewhere.
Yeah.
Jennifer, am I able to share?
You know what? As long as I stop sharing, you should be able to. So let me do that. I'm going to go back to the Meet, and I will stop sharing, and then that should give you if not, I can make you a presenter. See how that works.
Let's see.
I can go into permissions.
Only meeting organizers and presenters could share. I could also give you the link in the chat box, and you could kind of drive us through. If that's
here we go. I can go back to our permissions.
Okay.
And then that'll be kind of a good refresher for everybody. And we'll go. We can say anybody can share. So we go back here, who can present, and we can say everyone. So then that way I don't have to give special permission.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right. Are you able to see on my screen? Are you able to see my screen okay, Jennifer?
Yes, I see you seeing me.
Okay. And you see my Canvas course up right now?
I see a Canvas course up right now.
Excellent. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I want to kind of give you the quick tour of this Canvas course before I give you the link. That way, when you get the link, you'll know where everything is. You'll be able to access everything. First, this is our home page, and you'll see our schedule. Now, I know that some of the dates and times were a little off in My Talent. That has been corrected, and this schedule here is the correct schedule. On the 20th, we hope you join us from 8 to 10 for Immersive Reader, Flipgrid, and Translator. Flipgrid is my new favorite thing ever, so that training will be great. July 23rd, 8 to 10, Microsoft Sway, also very cool. And you do have the bit.lys here to join the sessions for easy access. Now, if you have kind of a scheduling issue, because I know that the schedule did change a little bit, please email me and let me know, and we can kind of work through that together. Also on this front page, you are going to see an introduction to our PACE framework. Now, you may have heard in the past our department use acronyms of SIOP or QTEL. We are now branded as PACE. And what we tried to do is take all those research bases that really worked for our teachers, QTEL and GLAD, and bring them together in one place under one framework. So if you're interested in the principles of our PACE framework, that will be here in your Canvas course. And you'll see that a lot of these principles are very in line with what we learned about here in Microsoft. The next couple buttons that will be useful to you are our resources. So on our resources, you will see the slides from today. You will also see resources that Jennifer shared with us. We're going to continue to add to this throughout the training, and we're going to put the recording there, so check back for those resources. Our evaluation will not unlock until the final Microsoft training. So when you go to that final training, you'll be directed to complete our evaluation. Also, a question that may be on everybody's mind is the stipend. So for attending the 3 trainings, you will get the 0.6 credits. And then to get the stipend, we have one homework assignment for you that I'd like to introduce you to. And this won't be due until July 28th. So you'll have the rest of this training to think about what you might like to do, but just as a little preview, we really want it to be something that's useful to you. So we're giving you options, something that you learn from the training. You could create a Flipgrid, you could set up a team, you could create a Sway, you could create a presentation or a guide to share with your school staff about Immersive Reader or Microsoft Translate. We would just like to see you use something from this training in a way that's meaningful to you. And here is also where you will submit that on Canvas. Your other moderators will probably go over this with you, but just in case they don't, the way to submit this on Canvas is to go to Submit Assignment, and then you'll have all these options where you could give us a URL, or you could upload from your Google Drive. If you use Office 365, you can go to More and you can upload from there. Again, that won't be until the 28th, but just a little preview. When I get you this link in the chat box in a second, probably the thing that will be most beneficial to you right now is our attendance check. So when you click the link for our attendance check, you'll see day 1 here, and it's a short quiz. There's no wrong answers, and I'll take you through the questions. It's going to ask for your CMS employee ID number, and that will be your 5-digit, please. One thing that you're walking away with, and then what school do you work at? And when you hit submit, we will have your attendance recorded for the session. Now, after you hit submit, it may tell you that you got 0 out of 3 correct. That does not mean that you answered incorrectly. It just means that we have your answer recorded. All right, I'm going to pop that link into our chat box and then give you a moment to look through it and a moment to do that attendance check that will be important for your credits. All right, that link should be live, but let me know if you have any problems with it. I do see a couple questions in the chat box. How much is the stipend? It is $100. Links in the chat. May have taken care of that. Don't have access to the Canvas course. Canvas says I don't have access. When you click that link in the chat, if you're still having problems with access, please let me know. Good, working now. Good to hear it. Yes, Sharon, it will be the your 5-digit CMS number. Working now. Thank you, Luz. Oh, Miss Joyce Strayhorn, my former colleague at Harding. I see your email. Joy, could you let me know if you did get that, if you got the link in the chat okay, or if you'd like me to email it to you? The password to log in will be whatever password you set up to log into my NC Ed Cloud. There is another option to log in with Google. Either of those will work to get you to that course. And I do see some people completing that attendance check, so great. Seems like everything's in order. Okay, great. I see that some people are asking, once you have done that attendance check, Jennifer, is there anything else that you have for our participants before we sign them off? And after we do that, I will be here, and maybe Jennifer will be as well in case we have some individual issues.
I'm happy to stay on for a few minutes if that helps. I putting up my email and I put in the code again and just said, feel free to reach out. Be happy to answer questions. I know we gave you so much different things today to look at. And if there's something specific that you're having a hard time accessing, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, it will show as 0 out of 3 points in Canvas, but don't worry, after you have submitted, we will have your attendance. And then Sharon, I'm going to just take care of yours for you since you're having some issues logging on to Canvas. And if you continue to have issues, if you put in a help ticket, our technology people can help you. But I'm going to mark you for today. And then if you don't have any individual questions, thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you so much, Jennifer, for presenting this amazing tool for us and giving us your email and all these amazing resources. I always learn so much from you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy to help. It's been great. Thanks so much for inviting me.
I'm also having issues logging in. This is Tara Kendall.
Tara, and you're having issues
logging into Canvas to do this.
I'm going to make a note. And will you tell me? Oh, I see. Tiara Kendall. Okay. Okay, Tiara, we're going to take care of you for today. you won't have to worry about it. If you still have issues, contact technology because it should be something that they can fix on their end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Will the files that I've for the presentation be uploaded into Canvas, or will they be accessing them just through this the meeting?
Oh, good question, Jennifer. So what you had sent me previously, there was a resource guide and there was the
Yep.
slides. Those are
Yep.
uploaded. If there's anything else that I can upload, I would be happy to do that.
What I can do is I can send you, there was a lot of questions about merging Canvas and Teams,
Oh yeah,
and I found 2 really good resources. I can send those to you if you would be able to add those.
absolutely. That would be great.
Okay, that'd be great, because then everything will be one spot for everyone.
Perfect.
Are you ladies still taking questions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Luella. Good to see you.
Hi. Good to see you. So when I go to office.com, it wants me to sign in, and I'm wondering, do we already have an existing
Yes.
sign in?
So your school email should be your access for that.
Okay. And then second question, I have played around a little bit with Teams and with OneNote and Class Notebook and all of that before. Excuse me, but I have always been a little bit concerned about using, what is it, OneDrive? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems to want to suck in all of my files or sync all of my files from Google Drive and from everywhere. And I'm just not sure of the privacy, you know, if I'm using OneDrive, am I sharing everything that I have in, I'm sorry. I haven't done it recently enough to have the question clear in my head.
That's okay.
Okay, so I have 2 Google accounts.
Right.
One is my personal one is for school.
Okay.
And it seems to want to sync all of my Google accounts into with OneDrive. And I'm concerned about that because I don't want my personal files shared with CMS.
When you set up your OneDrive,
Mm-hmm.
You will be asked to use an email to set that OneDrive up.
Okay.
So as long as you don't link your personal email address to it, you should be fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Does that help answer that? I noticed myself. So when I was given this laptop and setting everything up, I even talked with my boss because it asked for a personal email and setting it up. And it didn't accept my work email for my Microsoft email to set it up. And I did notice I know exactly what you're talking about. I did notice some of my files from my personal Google Drive had been sucked in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it wasn't everything. So it had to have been something that I kind of clicked along the way.
Okay.
So I would just be mindful. And I know the reason I know that happened was because I gave them that one email. And I'm sure in my haste in setting it up, I clicked something in the permissions.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go back and look in your settings. I would look what email you're setting up your OneDrive with.
Mm-hmm.
And then just make sure you're giving them access to only what you want.
Okay. Okay. I'm wondering if it might have something to do with Google. They're constantly asking me if I want to sync across.
Yes. And that's where it happens.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. Okay.
And that's exactly what it is. So, I mean, you did see in Teams when in that file section where you can pull Google files. So you don't have to have everything into that OneDrive.
Okay.
You can keep it separate and then just add it a little bit at a time.
Okay.
So I would definitely go into your settings, check what your permissions are, and check what emails are linked to that account.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing
Okay,
it.
there's no more questions. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jennifer. We'll see you
Anytime.
next week.